Hi, we'd like to thank you for tuning into the World Boxing Review radio show. My name is Aaron Snowell. They call me the Hall of Fame trainer of champions. How we travel the world for past, present, and future stars. I'm coming to you live from Tampa, Florida, and we have Larry Leotti, uh, uh, president of Rochester Boxing Hall of Fame, who's our special guest for today. We'll be recapping the event that happened 1 week ago up in Rochester, New York. Welcome into the show, Larry. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing excellent. It's always a pleasure to be here on your show, Aaron. We always have a good time.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime we're watching boxing, doing boxing, or talking boxing, it's always great. But hey, let me tell you, today is the um, induction day for Indiana Boxing Hall of Fame with Craig Hawk. We like to congratulate each and every one of those inductees from Jill Diamond, Henry Tillman, uh, Floyd Patterson, also Tracy Harris Patterson, Jill Diamond, the president, Gilberto Mendoza of the WBA, and Jose Castillo from the WBA. Man, they have a good class going in there. I'm sorry I couldn't make it up there, but we're there in spirit, and it looks like they're having a great time because they got my cousin up there, who is the actor, our mascot that goes around playing Jack Johnson. He went up to fill in for me there, so they're having a good time. To give them the support, man. It's a great day.
Yeah, I wish I was there. I'm jealous. I see all their pictures. Oh, you can't forget David Tua. David Tua, man. One of the
Yeah,
hardest punchers in the heavyweight division at his time.
yeah, absolutely. To see all of them guys, Layman Brewster, I seen him,
Yep.
Freddie Freddie Ladd,
Yep,
all of them
Freddie.
guys up there enjoying the day, to enjoy the festivities today. But they got a tight schedule right after the inductions at the hotel at the Hilton, and you could still make it if you want to go. You know, it looks like it's up at its capacity from what I can see. I talked to Craig earlier this morning, and it looks like he's done a yeoman job of keeping this thing going. You can still get, there are some tickets, even though it's at a massive capacity. And after induction, they're going to have amateur fights. So the fights start at 5 o'clock. I know it's a tight schedule. I think they started this morning as we're talking at 11. So as we speak, the people are being inducted. And I think the first one up the bat is Jill Diamond because she had to get up out of there. That's what Craig was telling me. So once again, we want to say congratulations to each and every one of those inductees uh, of the Indiana Boxing Hall of Fame president, Craig Hawk. But Larry, there's a lot of fights going on today. And over in Japan, the reports already, that fight already happened already over there with Unse. He won in a massive capacity crowd of 55,000 people in the old Tokyo Dome. Boy, do I remember that Tokyo Dome. One of the greatest upsets in boxing history when Mike Tyson got beat by Buster Douglas. And Buster Douglas is in Indiana. His father is going in the Indiana Boxing Hall of Fame, so he's up there. But yeah, I remember that Tokyo Dome, and boy, Insei, he won it went the distance. Many people didn't think it was going to go the distance, but um, it went the distance, and he won by unanimous decision, 116 to 112. What do you think about that, Larry?
I think that's good. Yeah, I know the Zone is advertising 24 hours of boxing. I saw that they got the Inouye fight, and then I can't remember the two guys that are fighting the main event over in England, and then you're going to nightcap it with Zerato and Benavidez, and that's going to be a heck of a fight as well. That's the one I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, the Benavida at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. That's coming up later tonight on the Zone, and it makes it for an exciting Saturday when you have this much high quality, high level of boxing with two fighters that are in the pound for pound list, Insei and Benavidez. uh, pound for pound, one of the best. But hey, look, man, I hope that he's focused. I hope that he's training hard as he moves up into a higher weight class. And, the reporters are always biting at the bit with him about, do you think the Canelo Alvarez fight is going to happen? Let him take care of one thing at a time, man. What's that? He's up against a tough opponent tonight, that he has to keep his eye on there. Hopefully he gets through that. And then after that, then you talk about Canelo Alvarez and why or why not those things should happen, could happen, and maybe happen. And, you just got to stay focused. And when they keep asking questions like that, it's really a distraction for a fighter. All the reporters want to know his feelings about that. But he got something major in front of him tonight, and this should be an interesting fight.
It
What do
will.
you think, man?
Anytime I was gonna say, anytime you go up in weight to fight a bigger man, no matter the skill difference, it's still challenging because you're going up in weight. You're fighting at a class that you're not used to, and you're fighting a very strong person that's very comfortable in that weight class, who's a champ at that weight class. So that's what also makes this a very interesting fight.
Oh,
And yes, the noise. They always want to go to the next step before you gotten up the stairs. They always trying to take some stairs out from you. But if you don't make it up them stairs, you ain't getting that other fight. So
yeah. And the
you're not
main
getting
thing
that
you got.
landing. You're not getting there.
Yeah, you got to stay focused, man. As you've seen so many times, big fights that are on the back end uh, don't end up happening is because, fighters look and say, this is the easy, and what becomes the easy one becomes an easy nightmare for you.
Yep.
And this is what, you got to fight the fight that you need to fight to go out there and win, to move on to bigger and better things. And I think, if being Benavidez is focused, direct, then he takes care of business. After the fight's the perfect time to be talking about Canelo Alvarez,
It is.
and why he should fight him and why he don't think Canelo Alvarez do fight him, and lead the gossip to us and stop asking the fighters when they got a up and coming great opponent in front of them, not opponent, a former a champion that
Yeah.
he's going to have to go and take that belt from, man. And he's up against a big task tonight. And if he is who they say he is, he should come out the victor. And let's see if he can win in grand style and grand fashion to maybe set up a fight with a Canelo Alvarez or somebody like that.
Yeah. Well, case in point, you just mentioned Canelo fight. Look what happened to Canelo when he fought Bivol. They thought, oh, Canelo's going to wipe out Bivol, and maybe he can make it to heavyweight and fight one of the lesser heavyweights. And yeah, it didn't end up so good for Canelo.
No, no, it didn't. And you have to look at stuff like that, and the past brings on the future, which is a mystery. What's going to happen? But we can say the things that did happen in the past, and in order to say, hey, look, this is something that we just have to look at and examine. But I think Benavidez is just one of those great champions, and he deserves to be up against another great champion with a big time name, man. But Cinco de Mayo is a great holiday, as we all know. Don King with Julio Cesar Chavez start doing great events to mark Cinco de Mayo with Julio Cesar Chavez and those Hispanic fighters for that Independence Day, fighting for freedom, justice, and equality. And boy, did Julio Cesar Chavez fight a lot on that day, as much as Canelo Alvarez did. But
Yep.
Benavidez is up to bat, and let's see everything that he's marked to be, if he can live up to that standard. It's a hard thing to carry when you have high expectations, and then you have to go in to look at it, because when you don't have a great performance, people swing their opinion on you in a minute, and styles make fights.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you have to train to make adjustments to the style and see if you can take advantage of the mistakes and things that you have to. in a great fight like this. And I think Benavidez, if he's has his head focused in the right areas, if he can go in there and do that against a former champion and capture another belt in a different weight class, will tell the tale how great he is.
Yeah, and you brought back memories, Aaron. You mentioned Chavez, and then I flipped to, man, you got Barrera, Morales. They used to fight on Cinco de Mayo. How many times they fought, man? I did what, 4 or 5 times those guys fought, and then after Morales came around, they put Manny Pacquiao in them 3 times, Morales. And
Yeah.
then they put Marquez in there against Pacquiao. It's like they always have a Cinco de Mayo hero that comes in and brings in the cash for great fights.
Yeah, it's all about that cash. And at the MGM Grand, for a little bit of history, I trained Frankie Randall when he beat Julio Cesar Chavez to give him his first loss, trying to hit the mark of 90 wins and undefeated. And we stopped him in his tracks at the opening of the MGM Grand Garden for boxing. That was a big night then. It was, and it's still the MGM Grand Arena is big, and it has a history note when it comes to boxing. But that first fight that happened in the MGM Grand, with Frankie Randall being a massive underdog, comes home and brings home the victory for us, who I train, is something big, and it's a landmark for that arena, Larry. But
Yeah.
hey, look, let's move on to Rochester, where you're at right now. Last week, we were just gearing up to get over there to the Blue Cross Arena.
Yep.
I had bring the Jack Johnson exhibit up there, which I was asked by the promoter, Clay Harris and Savage Promotions, to bring the exhibit. And Kalela Ali was there, and the former wife of Muhammad Ali, Hector Camacho Jr., Hagler Jr. Uh, the list was long, fine, but distinguished. But boy, did we have a nice time, didn't we?
Oh man, that was something special, and if you missed it, then you missed a great event. Man, it was, at this time, it's funny because I was thinking this time last weekend, you and I we were at Mount Hope Diner with Clayla talking to Mike the Greek and eating fine food and talking to all of his guests. His guests are always happy to see boxers come in there. Everybody's getting pictures and people were asking for autographs on napkins and whatever else they could grab. And man, what a great time that was.
Oh yes, hey look, the food at the diner, Mount Hope Diner, with Mike the Greek, man, who owns it, and his son and his grandchildren, another generation to move something of success, of history for 70 some years. His family in that community have that diner. It's a landmark. It's a historical site when it comes to boxing, because Mike the Greek, he manages fighters, and we were there talking about promoting the fight right there in this restaurant, and this fighter came out last Saturday night. He was there, biting at the bit, managing, training, in the
Yep.
corner. Oh, you're doing it from A to Z like most managers do. But to have in your hometown the opportunity to fight, as the promoter was calling it, the big house, the Blue Cross Arena, with 13,000 fans. And boy, that revitalization and that renewal, man, it looks beautiful in there in the back.
Oh man, the way they've redone it is a beautiful layout. I mean, we had the opportunity to go through the back, which is a rare thing. Usually you go through the front, the ticket check, but man, the locker rooms were phenomenal, spotless. The service was spotless. We got those tables set up for you and Kalela and or Mama Ali, and it was just bang bang bang. Everything was done, set up. We're ready to rock and roll. And man, what a great event! And all the fans were happy to be there. People were ready to rock, man.
Oh yeah, and they were rocking. Our exhibit was sit up where they enter in and come up the steps to come into the arena. They placed us in the right place, and I want to thank the Rochester boxing fans and those boxing fans that attended the fight. Boy, were they real acceptance to the Jack Johnson exhibit, I got many, many pictures with many boxing fans at the exhibit that I'm going to be posting of the boxing fans. And they took pictures with the uh, the Jack Johnson Legacy belt and also the awards belt that the Rochester Boxing Hall of Fame has designed for this coming up year in my name that's going to be distributed out. So the fans got a chance to firsthand look at the exhibit, the artifacts, and then have a lifetime memorable moment that they did visit the Jack Johnson exhibit by taking a picture of the backdrop that has Jack Johnson's face it with them holding uh, the belt. And boy, did the fans show up and show out in Rochester, man. The exhibit was jam packed, man. And Kalila was packing them in over there at her booth exhibit too, man, selling them books.
Oh man, she sold out of everything she had. She sold out of all of her pictures, all her books, and yeah, people wanted more. She didn't have it to give.
Yeah, it represented something real fine. We're talking about 30 years, to my understanding, where boxing has not been in a big arena like that in Rochester. You know, you have amateur fights, club fights that still go on, but not in the big house, man. And in the big house, man, it was an electrifying atmosphere with
It was.
man, with music, dance, culture, and
Yep.
boy, the fights
Yeah,
are
fights.
something amazing. Hey,
Yeah, I got a poster, Aaron. I got a poster. I got to frame it so that we have a nice poster for the Rochester Boxing Hall of Fame right here, man. I'm so proud to
wow,
hold this thing right up in front of you. Look at all this greatness right here.
yeah. Well, with Savage Promotions and the extravaganza that they bring to the table last week at the Rochester Blue Cross Arena, man, was just something defining. It was a long night. You
Oh yeah,
had to love boxing in order to stay. A lot of people enjoyed themselves so much they got sleepy and they had to leave
yeah,
because they were tired.
yeah.
But they said they didn't want to leave it. They said they're just tired of a long night. But Clayton Harris and Savage Promotion, they did everything and lived up to the bill. Everything that they said they were going to do, they did it.
Yep, that's one thing I give them. I mean, it was a great night. I'm not downgrading anything, but they were people of their words. They did everything they said they were going to do, and they did it right. You know, that's
Yeah,
one thing I can say about the event. Everybody got what they were supposed to get, and they put on one heck of a show.
yeah, and you talking about putting on the show, Larry? I didn't know your daughter was such a dancer, man.
Yeah,
They captured her on the feed, on the streaming feed over Triller TV. She's at ringside, boy, and they were playing the house music in there, the DJ. And boy, your daughter got moves, man. What's she taking dancing classes or ballet classes? Cause she was into it, man.
and I think it's called YouTube.
Boy, yeah, your daughter and your son, they had and it was a family event because there was a lot of children
Yep.
there, and there was this one young man that was there. He was very outspoken. I mean, you know, early you seen some exciting fights. Like the two young men we were coming down the elevator that we spoke to.
Yeah, two
Uh,
guys from New York City. I think one was from Jamaica, Queens, and the other one was from Brooklyn. I think that's what it was.
Yes, from Brooklyn, some rising stars, and there's someone to watch, man. They come out and blew and knocked out some hometown fighters. An unexpected victory for them. They thought that because they was in the blue corner, is that they were opponents, and they told us when we were coming down in the elevator what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. And I'll be darned, they lived up to the bill, like Muhammad Ali used to say. I'm going to get them in for it. And boy, they lived up to all of that. And
Yeah.
I had to congratulate them for speaking truth in existence. I hate to see Rochester's own lose, but these young men, they walked it and talked it, and they lived up to it, man. And it was exciting to see them fight. Boy, they throw punches and bunches. The punches are nice, sharp, and crisp, man. It show them they're ready for the higher level of boxing by their performance, how they laid it out.
Yeah, I got to give those guys credit because and they were in the elevator with us and they were telling us their game plan, and I just kind of like, oh, okay, hopefully our Rochester guys will just whoop their butts, but didn't end up that way, unfortunately, for Rochester. But those guys did exactly what you said, what they said they were going to do. They did. That was their game plan, and they executed it.
Oh, yes, they did. Yeah, yes, they did. And they executed. And then we had the co-main event, which was a female fight,
Mhm.
uh, title fight, and that lived up to the bill. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it does. And I heard some people saying, well, she had 8 KOs and she didn't look as hot as we thought she was going to look. But I talked to her. You were with me. We were at the hotel down in the lounge area after the fight, sitting around because we're too wired to go to bed. And Summers, that was her name. Summers showed us her hand, and it looked like a grapefruit. She broke her hand, and she
Yeah,
told us like the third punch of the fight, and that's why she didn't put her out. And the
yeah,
little things you don't know about until after the fight. And yeah, the people
yeah.
who
She
didn't know
did
that
hurt
her
her
hand was
hand.
the
Her
size
hand
of a
was
grapefruit.
Yeah, her hand was really, really swollen. She showed me, and right on the knuckle, she had a
Yep.
knuckle sting, as we call it in boxing. She stung her knuckle. She turned the shot over, and her hand was swollen like a balloon. I said, "Well, look at that." Everybody was wondering why, after you knocked her down early, is that she didn't turn that shot over anymore. I said, "Now we're seeing that you were injured," and I
Yep.
said, "Well, you handled it all well." The pain and the
Yep.
struggle, and you didn't give up. You didn't give in to the pain of being hurt, and you came and bring out the victory. It shows you how much being champion means to you.
Yep.
To be able to perform injured like that is just simply amazing. Amazing how athletes, when they get hurt in competition, how they can pull themselves out and bring home a victory, and that's what Summers did. And
Yep. And I,
congratulations to her and her team. But
yep. And I was going to add, I wouldn't want to play poker against her because you wouldn't know her hand was messed up. You wouldn't know her. You know what I mean? In that fight, she
no,
did not tell a tale at all.
no, you're absolutely right, Larry. But the night in the Blue Cross Arena, why all of those screaming fans, they came out, was no other than Bryce Mills, man. Bryce Mills came out from round one, and he let them know, I am who they say I am, and this is the place to be. This is my house, and my house ain't going nowhere. I'm here to represent the fighters and the people from Rochester, New York, with grand style and grand fashion, and that's what he did. He took control from round one. What do you think?
I agree with you. And what a class act from the beginning press conference all the way through the weigh in all the way up to that point. Interviews, very knowledgeable, very clear when he spoke, and then the fight. He did what he said he's going to. He brought it. He went right after her, and he did not stop, and it was relentless to the point where the guy couldn't continue, and he didn't give him a chance to even think about it. That's the key. I think that's where a lot of fighters make a mistake. They don't finish it. They don't make the guy want to quit. They don't make the guy say, I can't do this today.
Yeah, and what it's tough to do when you're fighting in a big venue like that in your hometown. So many people pull, ask for tickets. They want you to do this. They want you to do that, and guys get distracted like that. But uh, Bryce Mills showed that he is a true professional. Is that he can handle fighting at home like that, with all the people and all the media that surrounds it, the way he carries himself, and everything is inside that ring when you're based on performance. Boy, was it an exciting fight! He came out using I didn't think he had a jab like that, but he had a pistol whooping jab. And I all the time say as a trainer, when you see a guy using his jab like that, he's a jab is an offensive weapon, but it's also a defensive weapon. Guys have because it comes straight, it's direct, and the way he was throwing it with speed and popping, you find your distance, you find your timing, you find your range, and that's what you could see that the jab was doing for him. He was using that jab. He worked, got in behind that jab, and boy, when he got inside, when he was in the opponent's range, boy, did he put combinations, punches in bunches, and effective body shots he was throwing. I
Yep.
mean, at times he was hitting what you call him with a right hand around the body and picking his feet up off the ground. What do you think about that?
Yeah, there were a couple times he hit him in the body and the guy's feet came off the ground. I mean, definitely has an effective body shot, and he knows where to put it.
Yes, he was placing his shots very well, going from the head to the body, from the body to the head, and then sometimes he mixed it all in together. But he was using that jab to set it up. And let me tell you something. Bryce Meals is a nice looking young man, as Kalila said. Kalila said, "Well, he's handsome." We got to support him. You can't let nobody hit that pretty face. But let me tell you, he got hit with a shot. And let me tell you, he took every bit of that shot and kept on pressing and kept on coming. And he
Yep.
got a beard. He
Yep.
got a good chin, Bryce Mills. And Bryce is going to surprise a whole lot of people. Let me
Yep.
tell you,
Yep.
Bryce is a rising star in boxing. Like I say, he's just white, but he just happened to be able to fight, and he can be able to fight with the best of them.
Yep.
He reminds me a lot of Gotti
Yep.
with his looks and stuff like that, and what he can do inside the square. His styles make fights, and boy, does he got a heck of a style. And I seen some things that he has worked on since he fought uh, at the casino down by the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Uh, he's learned to put pressure on, and then he can step around, and he's stepping around and then put the pressure back in. I've
Yep.
seen that he has added that in his repertoire, and
Yep.
I think it worked very good for him, and he was very colorful doing it last Saturday night.
Definitely, he's learning to step and work angles. He's definitely getting a lot better. He looks more comfortable in there.
Yes, he does. And after the fight, he was coming out of the ring. He seen us at the footsteps of the ring. He was apologetic. He says, "Man, I didn't look that good." I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "Man, you look good. You did a lot of great things in there. Just keep working. Go back to work. Keep
Yep.
working." You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep.
Tonight was a great performance in front of his hometown crowd, at a large crowd, which is a hard thing to do.
Yep.
He looked well, and I think what he did with those body shots and going to the head to the body. He took the spirit from his opponent. Anytime you have a guy you're fighting, and he don't want to come out for the next round, it speaks a lot of what Bryce did. He had already knocked him down, and he should have been counted out. But the referee gave his opponent the best chance to continue. And
Yep.
when the bell rung and he went, he said no more. It was just too much. You could
Yep.
see Bryce had overwhelmed him with class and style, punches and bunches, and repeated aggression that broke his spirit. What do you think?
I agree. I think that he realized at that point whether it was the shoulder or not the shoulder that he just didn't. It wasn't his night. And I think again, like you're saying, I think he was telling the referee he was pretty much done, and he hopped around a little bit and realized, well, let me see if I can get through this round. Of course, his corner's yelling at him too, tell him finish the round, get up. But yeah, I just think Bryce with his pressure came right back to him and made him realize he didn't want any more of that.
No, he didn't want any more of that, and it showed that Bryce is one of those fighters for the future. He's a rising star in that. But right after the fight, man, and everything was done, it looks like he's going to bigger and better things, from
Yep.
my understanding.
Yep. Yeah, he got that fight he was talking about. He got the Vargas fight, so he's really excited about that. He was saying that's the fight he wanted on multiple shows, including yours, Aaron, and he's got it now. June 27th, Barclay, co-main event, Vargas Mills.
Yeah, and I want to say to the his fans and the Rochester boxing fans, get down to the Barkley and support him. He deserves it. Rochester deserves it, and bring home this rising star who is becoming. You know, that major star that you're going to fight on pay-per-views, which his last fight last Saturday was pay-per-view on Triller, and support him. That's what I'm saying. It's a great opportunity. I can't wait to the fight with Vargas. It's going to be, I mean, it's going to be one heck of a fight.
Yep.
And I can't wait till that fight happens. With Vargas, they're always ready. They understand what level they're on, and Bryce understands what level that he's on. And boy, they're just putting uh, their wheels and skills on the line that creates excitement for the boxing fans. So I can't wait for that fight.
It's funny you mentioned because I was talking to Jose Alfonso there, cello man, and he's like, I don't know much about Bryce. I just recently started watching him, but he's like, that's a 50-50 fight, man. Because he goes, I know Vargas. I've watched him fight a lot of times, even in Florida. And that's a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, well, yeah, hey, look, hey, that's all. That's all you need is preparation. Make sure you don't have a piss poor performance, and when you're up to bat, you got to do what you've been practicing. And Bryce showed that last Saturday. He has worked on his wheel and his skills, and you could see his improvement of what he's doing, and he has a great team with Russell Pelps and them. Russell Pelps behind him, one of the great boxing promoters from Philadelphia,
Yeah.
is with Bryce, and for them and his team to land this fight. Bryce has been in the last few months busier than a one-legged dog in a butt whooping contest, and let me tell you, man, he's kicking tail. Bryce is in the last less than 6 months. He already done had 3 fights.
Yeah, he's going to have 3 fights, including Barclays, this year alone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
I was
what?
going to say it's Alonzo, Jose Alonzo, cello man. I apologize. I said his name wrong. I just thought that. Correct that real quick. But yeah, 3 fights, and he's a WBC silver champ. 3 fights in a half a year. That's pretty good. Boxers usually don't do that.
Yeah, it's just simply amazing how the weekend was, and let me tell you, we will get back to the fight in Rochester, but breaking boxing news came out this week that a long-awaited heavyweight matchup between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua is in the makings for November. It's been waiting for these two to climb in the ring and put their skills up against each other. I think this is used for boxing, and I think it's going to be a mass sellout out in
Oh,
Wembley Stadium.
they're going to have to extend Wembley. All of England will be there.
Yeah. Hey, you got 1-2 with Anthony Joshua has the most records attendance sales with close to 93, 94,000 fans, with Tyson Fury following right behind them with 92. So you put them two fans, they're going to have to expand something or put television outside because
Oh,
people want to be on the they want to see it on the scene or on the screen, and I think they're going to have to find some different avenues for the boxing fans to be around Wembley to watch it live because it is a very historic moment in British boxing history, man. For
this is
these
going to
two
be the
giants,
Super
two
Bowl.
Olympians, two former undisputed heavyweight champions, to be going up against them each other, and that's without a belt.
Yep. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. No belt, and this is basically their Super Bowl. It's going to be huge.
Yes, it is. It's gonna be very, very huge. So we can't wait. In the meantime, Anthony Joshua and his team, Eddie Hearns. Eddie Hearns, man, is making tremendous marks um, in boxing by the moves that he's making to secure his fighters that he have to be a part of greatness. You know, Boots Ennis, which
Yep.
is fighting at the Barclay. They've been selling out the arena in Philadelphia to move him up into Brooklyn to see what he can do up there. But he's doing it with Boots Ennis the same way he did it with Anthony Joshua. He's making him a major, major star here in the United States. And hats off to Eddie Hearns with the zone and Matchroom Boxing for all the great things that they do to keep on promoting boxing. I think what he that thing that Matchroom Boxing has with the zone and their platform is just showcasing boxing. Like today, they have three fights
Yep.
back to back with the top pound for pound fighters being streamed on that the zone platform. Shows
Yep.
their commitment of what they have put in the boxing, what they continue to be in to do for boxing.
Yep.
Um, not much like the counterparts. Let's go. I'm going to jump right into the Muhammad Ali Act. You know, that Muhammad Ali Act, um, Larry, is in Congress. You know, they're trying to pass it, and from my viewpoint, I don't think they should pass it. I think that the Muhammad Ali Act, the way it stands in general in conception of the way it is good for boxing. And what it is that the unified commissions and things stop enforcing the rules of the Muhammad Ali Act. If they would have put forth the rules of the Muhammad Ali Act, Dana White would have never ever been able to get started. But he had hired the UFC, Mark Ratner, a longtime uh, commissioner of Nevada Commission, to get Mark Ratner on his team. They gave him millions of dollars, and he was the president for a long time to help them maneuver to get the UFC around the Muhammad Ali Act, where the loopholes was, where the Muhammad Ali Act should have stopped Dana White a long time in the UFC dead in their tracks, and because they hired Mark Ratner out from the commission, he was able to do that, and still he's able to do certain things where fighters from the UFC. This is nothing that's made up. These are true facts of what he has done um, with the UFC, where fighters were talking about um, uh, they were told to take dives and money that they get short end of the stick and all of that. And it's just let go and whitewashed and just put away where he should have been brought on the commission, and at least um, where he had to defend himself from those calculations that different fighters and stuff what had to do in the TV contracts, so where the money was at, how the money was being distributed, where they were getting the money from, how much money they were getting, the contract basis. With the Muhammad Ali Act said they're trying to get rid of all of that, and yeah, where the money's at, so they don't have to pay fighters. They have investors that they're trying to maximize the investment that they have are putting in the game, and to get the money back, because Dana White has folded up um, quite a few uh, companies with that mixed martial arts and stuff, of companies that they just pour all the money out and this and that. But, you know, we shouldn't be here, is because if the stock exchange did their job and looked at the conflicts of interest of what the Muhammad Ali Act says when they start funding this projects, well, we would have never got there if the red tape would have did their job. It would have stopped them and hauled them in there. But the big money is pushing the deal, and that should never happen. You know, righteousness, at some point, sometime, you sit and have to look at the overall factor. The Muhammad Ali Act was there to protect fighters, and here's why. Do you know Muhammad Ali personally told me, as great as he was at one time, he only was getting less than 10% of his money, his fight purse. Do you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. And that's why he was looking for help, for some people to help him defend off this, where he was taking home less than 10% of his money. And, you know, and the Nation of Islam and people who supported him helped him with that. And not the contrary, where they say the Nation of Islam robbed Muhammad Ali of his money. That's an absolute lie. They helped him. They took him to nations that he never would have had the opportunity to go to if it wasn't for the Nation of Islam and their connections. Do you know at one time Muammar Gaddafi was going to put up the money for Muhammad Ali and George Foreman fight, and Mobutu put up the money just before they were trying to. Herbert Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad's son, was with Muammar Gaddafi, and he had put up the money, and they just couldn't get the letter out to Don King, who was in Zaire, Africa at the time, and there was a complete massive blackout in Libya, and they couldn't transfer the money, else the fight would have been in Libya instead of Zaire, Africa, and one of the biggest fights in the history of boxing, the Thriller in Manila. And Larry, let me tell you, the law, as it was seen put, was to stop Don King and Don King from Productions for being who they were, where they had TV contracts and stuff for decades, and made boxing as great as it was. And they used this Muhammad Ali Act to stop Don King, or try to stop him to doing what he's doing. But Father Time is one thing that all of us have to fight. Um, uh, to try to get him out the game. And no sooner Don King slowed down, all the stuff that was used to try to fight Don King, they let all the other promoters, they loosened the belt strap and let them go to work and do what they wanted to do. And that's what you see now. Dana White, all the things that they were saying about Don King and what he's doing are wrong, why he was in the promotion business for decades with some of the biggest fights in boxing. Uh, Dana White is doing all of that they said Don King was doing. He's doing it. And when mentioned and brought to the to the table, they all the time want to say, "Oh, that ain't the Muhammad Ali Act. That's the Don King Act," and we stopped Don King in his tracks. So we don't need that act no more. Let's get rid of it. Let's go to business as always. And that's a crying shame, is because the paperwork for TV contract, they learned the game and the business of TV deals by Don King having to put forth his TV contracts in the Muhammad Ali Act. Do you know that, Larry?
Yeah, I knew part of that. Yes, that
Yeah,
that was all exposed once that
yeah,
that
yeah.
act came
They
into
learned
place.
how Don King's TV contracts look and what he was doing and how and what the fighters were signing by the
Yeah.
TV contract. And then they gave the TV contracts to other promoters so they can go out and secure the TV deals in the way Don King was securing his. And Charles Lomax, Don King's attorney, who was at one time with Sidney Austin, Charles Lomax and Don King were crackling bright what they were able to do when it came to network TV for decades, from ABC, CBS, NBC, um, syndicated television. Uh, and Don King with syndicated television and syndicated world for boxing. Don King opened that up. He had King Vision and all of that, and pay-per-view. Pay-per-view. Don was that king with pay-per-view, where he mastered the sales with
Mhm.
marketing and advertisement. He understood it like he understood the number business. It was all about the numbers, and boy, Don King understands numbers, and he know how to count those greenbacks. And when they showed them where the money was at, Don King put together the best 1-2 and the left hook and the uppercut that boxing has ever seen, and it's just being replayed in this era with all of the streaming platforms and all that. Don King was well reversed, and they took so many things out of his playbook, and they're doing it now, which is a crying shame. Is that if Don King had to put forth his contracts, TV contracts, and what he was doing with sponsors and all of that, I believe Dana White should have to do the same thing, and all that. So that's why they're trying to adjust the uh, the Muhammad Ali Act, so he don't have to put forth those TV contracts and those sponsorship things. I think he should put them up. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, and that to expose this stuff is because it levels the playing field for fighters when they come to the negotiation table.
Yep.
A lot of times fighters get hit blindsided when they don't understand everything that someone has on the table, and due diligence, and that's what sport is all about. The NFL has to expose their contracts, where they're getting the money, sponsorships, and baseball has to do it, football has to do it, and why not boxing? Boxing, it should be the same, and they trying to sell us team sport where you know you can't control everything. Could you imagine if the NFL controlled the sports teams? They can't control a sports team. They just pay for the licensing fees, the NFL, to be a part of the NFL, but they can't control the team, their
Yeah.
picks and all of that stuff. And that's what they're trying to allow Dana White to do, this control the rating system, and say, um, with this thing, we have not, and I'm going to repeat, he's saying about a rating system. We have not seen his rating system yet. All he says, this guy going to fight that guy. And in boxing, the public can't control it. The WBC, the WBA, the IBF, the WBA, all of them have led to the Muhammad Ali Act, where it says that you have to have a website and you have to post your ratings. And when Rating systems change. You have to make it public knowledge. All of the major boxing organizations since the Muhammad Ali Act came into play live up to that standards. And their conventions are public knowledge where you can go watch, like the draft system for the baseball, football, and basketball. You come to the convention, you can see the lobbying that takes place to try to get these fighters in different positions and stuff by what they're being brought to the table by promoters and managers to the boxing organization. That's what has to be to the public to watch how organizations, conventions, how they operate and see how well organized and how well an organized machine these boxing organizations are around the world. And Dana White and them do not have a worldwide organization like the WBC, 179 countries. That's a lot of countries. And so on. The WBA, the same way, the oldest boxing organization, 104 years in existence, Larry. This is just something amazing. And try to break all of that up is just a crying shame because big money comes in and they want it their way. And I don't think it should be their way. It should be our way, the boxing community. I'm saying vote no to that amended. Keep Muhammad Ali bill the same. If you want to do something to help the fighters out, why don't you put a pension for the fighters? You already have started an endowment for these fighters once they reach a certain level of competition that they can draw on after the game of boxing once you meet a certain level since you're raising billions of dollars. And we're talking about CBS too, who gave them that money and gave them the platform. They should have said, hey, look, since it's a new era in boxing, let's start doing like the NFL, basketball, and those places like that. Is that you have to be a part of it. You got to sign in as a member, set up retirement fund for these fighters after they get to a certain level, and put the seed money up to start the endowment to do it. If you care so much about boxing, what you're all the time saying, you care so much about the fighter. You don't care nothing about the fighter. You care about lying in your pocket. Tell the real truth. Tell the truth and shame the devil. That's where the real nut of the ball shell is, and that every certain amount of money should go in after every title defense or what big gates over a certain. If you do over 5,000 gate, the taxes that go into the boxing fund endowment. You do 10,000, so another part goes in the boxing fund, and it's all a tax right per ticket to help seed starting the boxing fund. This is my viewpoint, and let me tell you, Larry, you know me, man. Hey, look, it ain't that we dislike Dana White. We just dislike the way that he's going about trying to bring boxing into the new era. You know what I
Right.
mean? You're
Yep.
trying to
Right.
kill stuff that been we've been building on for a long time in boxing. And look, boxing ain't perfect, but it's far off better than it used to be.
And it's better than MMA as far as treating the fighters right.
Yes, it is.
You know what?
So
I was kind of taking back what you were saying. You know, what better way to break into if you want Zuffa to be a top promotional company and have your own system than to say, if you fight so many fights for us, we'll offer you a retirement fund. If you know what I mean, like what better way to break into the business? If you may not pay the fighters as much as these other leagues, or these other promotionals, but hey, we're going to take care of our fighters. At least, if you fight for us, you're going to have something to fall back on. It's going to go into a fund, and you'll be able to draw on that when you get older.
yeah, absolutely. Because look at what y'all do. We'll look at what Henry Hascup does. Look at what Ring 8 does. These boxer funds there where fighters fall on the bad side of life. if they need their electric bill or gas bill paid, housing, a car, they get them up on their feet and get them going. Hey, look, Henry Hascup, he does it. Ring 8 does it with Ron McNair. Rochester Boxing Hall of Fame that help fighters and stuff like that rebound from different positions in life that they are. I think if Dana White wants to do something like that, I think he would get a better response from the boxing community, bringing that much money into the game. I think, and the charity abroad, Zakat. We see those Muslim brothers, in business. Practice your deen, the 5 pillars of Islam. Practice that zakat. Give to charity. Give to these fighters, not in purse. Give them in zakat. Give them in charity. This is something for you, brother. I'm talking to the Muslim brothers. I'm talking about you, brother. Give the charity up. The poor got rights in your pocket. Give it up. Give these fighters a retirement fund. Yeah, charity. So you can get it after life. That's where the reward was. It'll help with the greed for money that you have. Inshallah. Allah forgive us. That's about full, isn't it, brother?
Yeah, it's tough, man. You see it,
Yeah,
you
it's
see it.
tough. You walking like you're talking, baby.
Yep, yep, walking like you talk it.
Yeah, I bear witness that there's only one God but Allah, Muhammad Rasulullah is the messenger of Allah. Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And me as a Christian, I believe in God, believe in Jesus died for my sins, and I'm the same way. We all
Yeah.
believe
Yeah.
in
We're
God.
all
We all believe
sinners,
in a
but
creator.
no.
We all
We're,
got to
we're,
do the right thing.
yeah, we're trying to do the right thing. That's why we're talking the right thing. And hopefully we can get other people to do the right thing to help these guys out. And I think at the end of the day, I think all the major players will do the right thing at the end of the day. But you have to stir them up and wake them up. And what we're trying to do is spank them softly, as the Holy Quran says. Don't beat them harshly. It says spank them softly, and we're just giving them a love tap. Wake up, make it happen. Boy, Larry, the time goes by fast when you're having fun.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, we're already in that hour, man.
yeah. We're
So
counting down.
let's talk about the Rochester Boxing Hall of Fame real fast.
Oh man, it's gonna be soon, and we are right now. It's just doing the back work, getting everything lined up. Starting to get how many hotel rooms we need, and man, we're gonna have a packed house this year. We got a lot of people are excited about James Toney coming, and it's nice to see excitement about that, and it's kind of this boxing extravaganza we had last weekend is just feeding right into it, and gives me an opportunity to talk about the Rochester Boxing Hall of Fame and all the great things we got going on. And I got a poster right here. The only one that's not on the poster is Daryl Peoples, and that's just because we couldn't get it to fit in, and we already made the poster before we talked to him. And yes, Daryl Peoples is going to be coming, guys. Daryl Peoples is the House President of the IBF, and if you want to talk about ranking systems and fighters, he's your guy, man. That guy can just walk you right through history, step A to step Z.
Yeah, absolutely. Daryl Peoples is a great person, a great president, and congratulations to him and James Toney and uh, Cello and
Dean Van Horn, Mary
Ocasio.
Jo Sanders,
Yeah,
Brian Nix. I didn't even know you knew Brian Nix.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. We were going to try to sign him a long time ago with Don King, as he told the story last weekend.
Yep.
I talked to him to try to get him signed with him, train him and stuff like that, but we couldn't get a deal cut. So yeah, I knew Brian Mick. Yeah, yeah,
Brian Nix. And then can't forget our photographer. He's getting the Gene Arlotto Award. You've met him a bunch of times. What a great guy, man. He donates all that time to take those pictures, man.
yeah.
He
Well,
doesn't
he
make a
gave me
dime
a
for it.
bunch of picture last weekend. I
Yep.
mean, man, he takes some great photos, great moments in boxing.
You know how it is. How many professional photographers would be like, yeah, I'll donate my time. I'll use my camera, my equipment, and just donate the time to do it and take the pictures and clean them up and get them to, and then develop them and give them to you for nothing.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. But hey, look, man, that's October. What's the dates to it on it?
It's October 3rd at the Red Fidel's there, Brookhouse. Doors open at 6, and the banquet will start at 6:30. Man, and I know it's a ways away, but start planning
October
because
3rd. Yeah.
October 3rd, baby.
Rochester Boxing Hall of Fame class in 2026, man. Hey, look, man, and it was great today, and thank you for coming back and to recap last weekend. What an exciting time, and I want to thank Clay Harris and Savage Promotions and all of you, Larry,
Derek Rambling,
man,
Derek Rambling,
Judd,
Derek Rambling.
Laura.
Sorry.
You know, for all that you did, you were there. Some great support. Rochester Boxing Hall of Fame was right in the house, watching it all, coming it all, and helping it all. And you know, you show that you're definitely for the boxing community of Rochester by all the stuff that you did. And I was glad to see Kalila. We had a magnificent time. And the Buffalo Boxing Hall of Fame was in the house. Man. Yeah. So, look, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to the World Boxing Review radio show. My name is Aaron Snowell. They call me the Hall of Fame trainer of champions. Traveling the world for past, present, and future stars.